Okay, it says that I'm live. So if y'all are here or you're watching the playback, welcome, welcome, welcome. My guests have decided to tell me to keep them off screen until everybody is ready to roll. I cannot hear you. Y'all are off screen. So if you're here, welcome everyone. We are going to be kind of talking about Women's History Month, and also we're going to just be kind of touching on a topic that my guest today and I have discussed at length with each other individually, and I just thought it would be a great idea to come together collectively. They're sending me chat, so I'm laughing because before all of this, I said Ava was going to be the one that was going to be late. She was going to be the one that was going to be last, and I didn't even know if Kiera was going to pop up or not. And Fatima, you know, it can go either way. Fatima might be the one to pull up, and she might be the one to be like, "Look, I can't even do it for you," But I got some awesome ladies. Fatima Lathan, Kiera Keys, and Ava Lisa Gallo will be joining us. I'm super, super excited. I know that like people like to wait till people are in here, but I personally just feel like the conversation should just go ahead and start because people are not used to seeing me go live. So I am about to bring in our guests. I hope y'all, well, one of them ain't ready. I can already see that. So I'm gonna just sit here and sip my coffee. See what everybody doing. I don't have no viewers yet, y'all. Y'all told me that they were gonna come on my live, but I doubt it. Yeah. Oh, your computer won't start. You should have did some should have been checking that anyway. But anyway, I hope you ladies are ready. I'm sorry if we don't get no viewers. People will probably be watching the playback, but I'm gonna pop y'all up on the screen. Hey.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everybody. So I do want to really quickly just go ahead and have y'all introduce yourselves. And I don't know if we should do like a how y'all know me. I don't really think that that's necessary. But if y'all could just, intro yourselves just really quickly, that would be wonderful. Who want to go first? Do I have to pick? I'm gonna pick Fatima because you up here first, Fatima. So
I don't even know what to say. I suck at introductions. My name is Fatima Lathan. I'm a Libra and an American. And I'm gonna do what I do. I don't know what else to say.
That's good.
I'm the worst. I need a lead.
Y'all are fine. That's fine. Okay. All right. Next person, because I'm halfway knowing how to do this. So here, y'all go ahead. Kiera.
You got this. I believe in you.
Absolutely. She's doing a hell of a job.
Hey everyone, I'm Kiera. I'm from Arkansas, but I do live in Austin and have for what seems like forever. But I'm a mom. I work in cultural strategy and policy, and yeah, that's me.
Hey, girl.
Hey, y'all. Y'all see I'm trying. I'm like, look, I'm trying to be professional. I want people
to Fatima go?
At least see your names, before I, take myself off the screen. So Ava, go ahead and go. I'm gonna remove everybody, put your name up there real quick, and then we can get started.
Okay, big time. My name is Avalisa Gallo. I am currently living in Arkansas. I was living in Texas. I am a whole bunch of different things. Right now, I am an educator for trans rights, and most of my time is spent on the phone with Carmela talking about crazy ass shit that's happening in the world. I am a Virgo, and so I like to be on top of my shit. And most of the time, I'm not. That's it.
Well, I'm glad you kept it real. I'm just saying, none of us are. Okay, ladies. Well, we are talking about protection of Black women and lack thereof, but we kind of have some intersectional pieces that we wanted to hit on. But I kind of want to go ahead and dive into the first thing that really got us all talking this week, and that's the most relevant. And I know people are like, I know y'all don't really care about Derek Jackson and his wife, but I feel like they are the Malcolm and Marie manifested. I think all of us saw that movie.
Yeah.
And this is actually where we started the conversation. We were going to talk about the dimensionalization of Black people and the Malcolm and Marie movie and what we felt like. Was it toxic? Was it Black love? Like, what was it? But then Derek Jackson and them kind of took precedence because, you know, the fuckery that we see. And sorry, y'all, it's going to be cussing. But I don't know where y'all want to start with this, but we were just talking about how the Derek Jackson situation quickly became the Black woman involved being the spectacle, and the Black women that he even slept with being the spectacle of this whole situation. And that oftentimes happens with Black women. I think that we have become characters to a lot of people. So I just feel like this conversation is almost necessary because it's something that we as Black women talk about often, but I don't think that it's often publicized to the world. And if it is, it's not discussed. It's not, people aren't listening. They're not receptive. So we're just going to kind of dive into it. So I don't know who want to start with the Derek Jackson thing, y'all's first reactions or responses. I am not invested in him at all, y'all. But
Listen.
I got really concerned. Like my friends did, we got really concerned about seeing some of the posts that she had, and then just kind of seeing what the media and how people, the public, the internet was responding to her. So y'all go ahead and take it away with y'all's thoughts.
It was so many layers for me personally. I think there were two things. I'm just going to start off with one. The first thing that stood out to me the most about the situation is that we know how the internet is. Like, the internet is ruthless. It does not care. Anything about you is going. If some come up about you, they are absolutely going to chew you up until there's nothing left. Ruthless. So, as her husband, I'm not a man. I can't say what he should have done. I will start there. But it's like, you know how ruthless the internet is. When do you intervene to protect her? When do you intervene to say, hey, she is beautiful and these are the qualities that I actually like about her, versus you actually getting under people posts on Instagram and and kind of feeding the narrative that's happening. You don't try to stop or correct it. That was so disturbing off top for me.
I think the big thing for me was the fact that, so the reason that he got away with cheating with these women is because he told them that he was separated from his wife. And the only reason that that narrative was able to play because he did not have her on social media. He did not bring her on his YouTube channel. When he was sitting in his car doing his little videos and whatnot, he was by himself. And so when he went to these women who see him as this man that's going to treat a woman right, blah, 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 we'll do that. If they knew that he was married, he'd be like, oh, we were separated. And so the fact that the second that he gets in trouble, now his wife is front and center. Now his wife is sitting there. Now his arm was behind hers in the video, like he was hiding behind her. And so the fact that this is the time that he chooses to put his wife on display as his fucking shield, like that was absolutely disgusting. He doesn't want to protect his wife. He doesn't want to actually do all of the things for Black women that he says that he wants to do in all of his little fucking videos. Yeah. What he really wants to do is be able to be a
narcissist.
Yes. He wants to be able to be this character.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it was the thing that was the most shocking was, I noticed her appearance. And I noticed how everyone talked about her appearance. And for me, I just kind of looked at the underlying factors with that. Like, all I knew about his wife is that she was very devout Christian. And I looked at her social media, and that was what really gave me pause, because I'm like, this lady seems like she's on the verge of a psychotic break. and seeing how, you know, all of the posts culminated to where there were posts last year where she talked about, you know, seeing the like seeing videos in his phone and things like that, and where she, you know, was talking about stalking the women and things, you know, those things. And I'm like, for him to bring her up there and, you know, her to look like that, I immediately thought she's a mental wreck. And it bothered me in how so many people will just take a man's word for things. Like, and he was just like, oh, you know, this happened. This was a while ago. Like, he kept talking about it as if it was an afterthought, as if it was something they had worked through. But then as people dived a little bit deeper and he, you know, gave more details, he's like, oh, you know, this was last year. I'm like, nigga, last year was 3 months ago. Like,
last week.
You know, and I'm like, she, you know, 3 months ago, for a wife to find out, you know, 14 years of you sleeping, like, you know, cheating on her and doing all these things, like, that doesn't, you don't get over that in 3 months. You don't get over that in 6 months, 9 months, or a year, you know. And I think it's, you know, the lack of protection for her, but it's also the lack of protection that religion has for Black women. And so I think for her, it seeing her up there, I know, I'm like, this lady, she, you know, she dressed up on her little social media and everything. And if this is the first time he's showing his wife, I think for her, she didn't realize the continued narcissism, because I think if he presented it to her, it's almost like, this is the first time he's showing me to his audience. And so she is buying into the change and thinking, oh, damn, you know, he wants to reveal me to the audience. But he was so narcissistic that he didn't realize the care or the lack of care that he had for her. And so he's like, oh, you know, come up here, let's face our audience. But it played into his narcissism of, like Avalisa said, them being separated and you being able to say, look how she came up there to all my millions of viewers. Like, that's why I stepped out. It only further supported the justification for him to cheat. Whereas to her, it played into her finally getting some of the limelight where he's hidden her for so long. So it just was a weird dynamic for me. I had nothing to, like, this woman is in her home. I had nothing to do with her. I didn't care about her being in her bonnet, you know, to that extent. But it's also, if this woman is devout Christian, you know, your Sunday best, or when you go out in front of people, you're going to be on point. So this is my first time facing his audience, and also to her religious, you know, feelings and things like that, because I just felt like he was full of shit. And I couldn't see how people took his side and really went at this woman. Like, this woman is a victim. She is a mental wreck. Like, y'all, she looked like she was in a trance. She looked like she was in a trance up there, like a zombie. Like, I am just mouthing the words. I practiced this statement, this speech, so I know what to say. But it was like she had checked out.
Yeah. I mean, you could see how she dissociated while she was in the video. And absolutely. I'm not the type to try to, diagnose. But one of the connections and one of the key things you said here was you've got the church where, let's not act like the appearance of things is not important, because it is. Right. And we all know that as soon as you are a public figure, as soon as you are on this public domain and you are in the internet, you are at the hands of the internet. You are at the hands of the people that view your content. And I think that it was very intentional the way he went about doing this. And he has been very intentional the way that he has gone about making his career on Black women, and then also abusing Black women simultaneously. And this is not just Derrick Jaxn. This is something that is a collective thing that we see, that people have been conditioned to kind of act and be and behave around Black women, because not only do you have the church shaming women and telling them, you know, you need to dress a certain way, and this is how you attract a holy man, and this is how this man reaches your level. And then that's the funny thing. You've got all these people supporting Derrick Jaxn in his corner, and then you've got the people coming to her saying they do support her when they're actually just saying, thank you for being so brave and embarrassing yourself for your husband. So
thank you for saying with this dirty ass nigga.
Right. And I think that that's a big thing, is we don't get it. The protect Black women is almost a trope now, because we're not getting protected. It's almost like we're hyper visible, we're being exploited, and people are using what is virtue signaling, where people are using the phrase, but they're not actually acting it out, and they're not, calling out their friends that they know do this. Because we know these good Black men. That's Derrick Jackson is the example of the good Black man that still has all these problematic, toxic traits, and nobody is like saying anything. Nobody's beating down his door, but you see all this backlash coming towards her. So,
and it's not fair, because why would you put your wife out there now? Like, you're not trying to protect her, you're trying to protect your brand. And that's what is so disturbing, is like, you put your wife out here in front of vultures, and you can tell the type of woman she is. She's to herself. It's clear she doesn't have many friends. She's not very social. So you're throwing her to the wolves for profit. That's crazy.
But it's also clear that he's very controlling. Like, I picked that up very much, like very quickly. I was like, oh, this guy, like, he's controlling her. And knowing her background and just, I don't know if we're going to talk about the other women who had come out about it, but knowing just her coming from this church home, from this small place, and only really having him, it seemed like he wanted her codependent on him. And she doesn't really have a say. And like you said, Fatima, not having friends, I don't think he would let her have friends. I don't think that she can't make friends. I don't think he would let her have friends. He really gives me this guy who has been friend zoned by women. So he sits around the women, like listening and soaking in everything they say, and then regurgitating it to other women in a predatory way. Like, almost like, I got friend zoned. I knew I couldn't get these women, but this is what they want. I'm going to now use this to, take advantage of other women. Almost like I know it, but I know this is the game, as opposed to this being how I really feel about women and me really thinking this. It, like you said, it's the trope. It's the joke of, I play into what women really want in their protection. And I think that's so evil. And just to have that woman up there, like you said, Fatima, just have her up there. And I think for her, she really was like, hey, like, I am in front of his audience for once. Like, maybe this is the continued change. Because she even said that. She said, hey, I've seen the changes that he's made and everything. And another woman that said he texted her right after
yeah.
So
yeah,
we gotta talk about that. I see the change, and that played into the change because he had never revealed his wife before. So she's like, this is a continued stride in us making progress. But for him, it's, I have to save face, so I'm going to reveal her to my audience and have you think that we've worked it out, that this was a long time ago. Not, it was 3 months ago, because that's when last year was. But we've made it past this. We've gotten therapy. And then here's my book.
For her, it was him making the effort, but in all actuality, it was him throwing her up there as a shield. And I just want to circle back to the fact that her appearance. I absolutely hate the fact people are attacking her appearance. Bitch, I'm allowed to look how the fuck I want to look whenever I want to look.
In my house.
In my house
during quarantine. Y'all lucky I got on a mug. Lucky I got on this wig. But like, in a situation like that, look at the way he looked. Look at how put together he was.
Yeah.
And she's sitting up here in her glasses with her bonnet on, with a sweatshirt. I don't know if that's how she wanted to look. I don't know if that's how she wanted to present herself. But if my man cheated on me very publicly, and we about to go on his page to say, this is what happened, this is how we feel, this is our stance, I am going to be painted for the fucking gods.
You gonna step like naturally.
Robe with feathers and boas.
I'm gonna have a moment where the camera pans to the side and you see me walking in slow motion. I got the wind in my hair and shit, and I'm just a full Beyonce moment. A full Beyonce moment.
Y'all better than me, because baby, I be deuces. I ain't gonna get
look. I would have been out in the first place, but if we in this situation where I'm staying with him, I just feel like there was such a disservice done to her for him to allow her to be there like that because he knows his audience and he knew what his audience was going to say. And for her to not value herself enough to actually get it together before walking in and sitting down, because I can't, I just wouldn't.
Which also brings up, just to kind of tie in for our audience, that also brings up this protection of Black women is directly connected to the accountability of the people who are supposed to be protecting us. And for her to be having a husband, he really is supposed to cover her. If they're in this Christian relationship and they're, taking these vows seriously now, he is supposed to be committed to protecting her in whatever capacity, especially when he's the one harming her. So like for me, I think that it goes all back to these people are very adamant about protecting us, but it's like, but do you trust us? Do you trust our judgment? Are you actually doing the steps that we're telling you to protect us? Or are you just getting the t-shirts and writing the books and then cheating on us? And then controlling all of the, other women that you have involved. And I would love for y'all to talk about the other women, because I watched a couple videos and I could barely get through them because how much control he had over the other women was wild too. I mean, master manipulator.
Yeah, I only saw the video. I only watched the video of I guess she was considered the third woman, the woman from Atlanta who was a surgeon. And I saw a lot of comments, and I remember she kind of stated when she started speaking that she didn't have social media. And I remember seeing comments of, she's so dumb. Like, how do you not have social media in this day and age? And I'm thinking, she said she was a surgeon. I went to Baylor, big medical school. A lot of my friends are in, the medical field. I have one friend who is an ER doctor, my same age, doesn't even have a Facebook. It's if you spending 16, 18 hours in a high stress job, you don't want to come home to then see all the other stress. A lot of them don't have social media. So it wasn't far-fetched to me for this to be so far removed, because I have a friend that I really have to, any conversation we have, I got to give her 2 hours of backstory, because she's like, girl, I had a surgery today. I don't care about this. So when, it saddened me, because I think people treated her like she may have known he was married. And it's just, when you have a job and a career like that, you want to believe a man. I think a lot of times in our trauma, and a lot of times our protection of ourselves is used as harm against us. When we take in what we've learned in our previous relationships, then it's, you bringing in this baggage from this relationship or whatever. So if this man approached me as I'm walking into the mall, I'm going to assume this man is single as hell. If this man, if he pursues me and comes to my job 3-4 times a day, can sit up there at my hospital and wait 2.5 hours after I'm at, in the surgery to send me a video of him jacking off, I'm going to assume this nigga is single as a single bill. People even went at her, and I hate this whole thing with married men, because I didn't definitely have my go round with them, and I'm like, they lied. Like, they lied. When I tell you, I knew a man who was trying so hard to convince me that he wasn't married. He basically filed for an application to marry his wife in one county, and gave her money. He said he gave her money for a reception and never went back after the 60 days to get it signed. So when you look up public record, it says application filed, not completed. He didn't say he married her in another county. So I'm like, niggas will lie, and they will go as far as they can to lie about things. And I can't say it's not a gender specific thing, because people cheat. I definitely believe people cheat, but it is harder for a mom with kids to cheat and carry it on, as long as I've seen men be able to. And I think it's because they have that autonomy. And I think a lot of times with women who have children, you are expected to be at home with the kids. You are expected to be the primary nurturer and caretaker. So I'm not saying women don't cheat and step out, but the list that these men will go to lie and keep a lie going is crazy to me. But, and so for her to say, when she called him at times, he said he was living with his cousin because they were separated. And, you know, he was doing something with the house. So anytime he FaceTime her, he around boxes. Like, ain't shit in the boxes. Like, you just got boxes around. I'm like, I can't do that much to keep up a lie. And I'm a grown ass person. Like, get out of whatever situation you don't want to be in. So when she talked about how he, you know, bought the 2 perfumes, one for her and one for his wife, so that because I guess his wife kept smelling the perfume on him. I'm just like, this man, like, and then when she said he rode by his house, and then the video, how you gonna make a video outside her house waiting on her after you've already addressed the world with your wife? Like, the lengths he went, like they were crazy. They were definitely believable because I've dealt with it, but it was crazy to me.
The reaction video is what really sealed. I mean, very clear that everything that the people were saying, it was possible, because how crazy, like, it's so narcissist to sit up there and critique yourself and then praise yourself for being able to tell on yourself.
It was the craziest for me.
When I watched it, I was like, he has separated himself from his wrongs so fucking hard that he is up here. And the only purpose of him doing that reaction video, because didn't nobody ask him to film that fucking reaction video? Girl,
Somebody in the comments.
Somebody in the comments, and maybe y'all was just trolling me, but didn't nobody ask him to film that fucking video? And so the only purpose of filming that reaction video was for him to be able to address a lot of the things that people were saying, because there was so much, you know, so much said afterwards, so many criticisms about the way that went. And so he felt, if I can go in there and I can say it, then I can give them the story that I want them to hear. And when he saw the reaction that he got from his reaction video, he snatched his shit the fuck down.
Oh yeah, it came down.
Oh, he took it down.
He took it down.
He did not do what he really thought that what he was doing would be acceptable. And that just shows like how much time and effort he's put into manipulating people, that he really knows to manipulate his whole audience.
See, and
he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah, so we've almost spent 30 minutes on him, so we not. That's why I wanted to get him out the way. I did not know he took down the video, but this was really to seriously segue into the lack of protection, and that is just one case. But we know many men who take advantage and do those things, and this is not to bash men either. This is really a learning exercise for all of us. But I wanted to take a moment for y'all, you know, not to like put our business out there, but you know, us as these Black women you see on your screen, like one of us had surgery this week, one of us was in the ER this week. Like, we are constantly exhausted. We're constantly having to put on face and do all of these multitask, you know, and we got mothers on the screen too. So you got us doing our everyday personal life and trying to balance that along with work culture, where we are seeing the lowest of the low. We get the least amount of money for pay. And I mean, I even had an employer, a recent one, tell me that I wasn't trustworthy. And it really did start me to thinking about how a lot of times I think that might be what it is when Black women have become such a caricature for people that they don't trust our work. When we're doing the work and we're giving a solid work, it makes people suspicious. The better we are, it's like the more we get punished for doing really, really well. And then the more we take on, it's almost like people just keep piling it on. We never have a moment where we can experience the softness and can experience like, hey, I'm tired today. Hey, I just have a lot going on, or whatever it is. So I kind of wanted to segue into that kind of thing, you know, the self-care movement and how that, again, we're left out of so many things when it comes to that kind of thing because of how much trauma that we experience on a day-to-day just being Black women. And, you know, I definitely want you to speak on, Ava, your experience, you know, as a Black woman, you know, because we've talked often where I wouldn't feel comfortable taking Ava into a room full of Black men. You know, I would be scared to take her into a room, you know, with all these people who a lot of times are homophobic, transphobic, you know, violent, aggressive, you know. So I think that there's a lot of different ways we can go into that, and I would love to know what comes to mind, you know, for y'all when it comes to that that whole situation too, where we don't feel safe, and we oftentimes don't feel supported, and our most of the time our trauma response is to just keep busy. So I don't know what y'all think about that.
I'll start by saying that I talk to Carmela all the time about how I have this very intense separation from my Blackness. I want to be blackity black, black as fuck. I want to experience that culture in the way that everybody else gets to experience that culture. But as we know, the toxic hypermasculinity in the Black community is so toxic that it pushes people out. It pushes women out. That hyper masculinity is used as a weapon against women. But then there's also this idea of, oh, we're supposed to at least pretend to be protecting Black women. So we're not going to take it to a certain extent. I'm going to take out all of this rage on Black women because I can't take it out on another Black man. I have to take it out on a woman because of her femininity and how that makes her softer and how that makes her weaker and how that makes her less valuable than me. But I can't go too far. But who I can take it out on is a Black queer person, because they're even worse than a woman. And I find that a lot of times Black women will take this as a chance to hate Black women, which is absolutely bizarre to me. But I have Black women like telling me the worst of the worst shit and just talking to me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm still a human. I'm still a person. And I'm going through the exact same experience as you, and you want to other me and you want to put me below. That doesn't make sense to me. And so my experience with Blackness is, you know, very careful and very cautious, because I've been in so many spaces where I am casually living my life, minding my business, and a Black woman hollers out, "That's a man!" And it's like, well, shit. Who is around, who's about to get violent, or I'm around a group of Black men minding my Black ass business, and one of them, oh, that's a tranny, right? That's a tranny. And then the one who was talking to me now wants to get violent with me because he has to prove that he's not gay and he's not into this gay shit. And then I'm in a violent situation again. And so experiencing these situations, I'm like, okay, do I go into this Black ass experience and just hope for the best, or do I just avoid it? And so my experience with Blackness is, you know, really, really weird and really sad. And at the end of the day, I'm still a Black woman and people are still treating me as a Black woman, if not less than a Black woman. And so I'm going through all of this same shit as everybody else on top of some other shit. And I'm just like, damn, why do y'all not give a fuck about Black women? Why do y'all hate Black women? Why does everybody fucking hate Black women?
And I think it's so ingrained that people don't realize they're doing it. Like, I've had friends where I've had to check them, you know, like they get to talk about trans women and I don't see them as well, I don't see you. How about that? You know, like, how about you go on and scoot around and move around? Because this ain't something I'm gonna go back and forth about with you. And I understand Ava's way more open to teaching. I'm not. Okay, people's existence is not up for debate. So I'm not but I have had homegirls come to me and be like, well, I don't get it, you know? And it's like that to me, we are so concerned and so obsessed with what womanhood looks like. And I know y'all, Kiera and Fatima, y'all can really speak to this, having a different appearance of what motherhood looks like, what womanhood looks like. So it breaks my heart. I'm trying not to cry on camera because I was like, never that. I will never. But I do have a lot of talks with Ava about that. And even today, she was like, girl, I got to be cute because, it's going to be one of them on here that's going to be like, that's a man, And that hurt my feelings a little bit because I'm like, you're right. Like, I don't know who's going to be viewing this shit. Like, and I'm, me, I keep the 9 on me. So let's like pull up. It's whatever, pull up. Like, but no, I would love to hear y'all's thoughts too.
Well, just what Ava said, I do think that I think one, we need as much help as we can get. Like we need as many allies as we can get. But what do we look like sitting up here, doing that to one another? And I think, I don't understand everything about the spectrum and, a lot of different communities, but I think I can always deduce it to humanity. And it's just, that's really the simplest I can get. Like, I don't hear of any, I don't know, trans people going in and shooting up schools. I don't hear them shooting up clubs. I'm just like, for me, I'm like, there's so many more bigger things to be focused on. Not that they don't need support or anything. The trans community doesn't need support, but if the ridicule is what I don't get. Like, what does me speaking to Ava in that way, what does that do for her? What does that do for me? Like, what does that do for our causes? It don't do shit for either cause, So I guess for me, I can always deduce it to that. And so I can't imagine though, like, I'm like, damn, I never thought about it in your way, Ava. And of course I don't know, but I'm like, damn, if I got to make sure my hair right, my outfit right, all of that, and then I don't, is that like on top of, I think just as women, as we get ready for the world, embrace ourselves for the world every day, that is just an added layer that I can't imagine. And Carmela, no, like, I don't play with these niggas. Like when it's like for real, like I don't understand. Like when they try, I forget at times that I am a woman because I'm like, nah, like I don't have balls because I got titties and they bigger. Like I don't play with y'all this way. Like don't feel like you can handle me like that. Like I don't necessarily believe in revenge, but I also don't believe in you feeling like you can play me because I'm a woman. Like nah, like and so I really have to think about that because people always tell me I have so much masculine energy. Yeah. And I joked about it on Facebook yesterday. And I was like, my middle name should be Audacious because, nigga, if you can do it, shit, why can't I? Like, if you deserve, nigga, I deserve times 2. Like, I just, in my mind, I was raised like that by very strong women. And so I don't have time for these niggas. Like I really handle them the way they try and handle me. And I work on it. It is something I try and not carry that bitterness. And I think I don't because I handle their ass and I get it over with, and I can move through it. I can't wear that jacket of guilt, of burden, of, and I think men really try and do that to you. And I'm like, nah, man, I ain't got time. So even with the cheating, I'm like, if you're going to cheat, I'm going to cheat harder. Like we ain't going to play this game. Like,
if you're going to cheat, I'm out the door. You do you. I will go do me and get mine. We do not.
Right, but I'm like, sometimes I feel that women are always expected to be the bigger person. And I love Michelle Obama, but sometimes I feel that when they go low, you go to the flow. Because the niggas gotta know. Don't play me like no hoe out here.
Somebody posted something and no, it was a video and she was like, girl, fuck this not being petty because when they go low, I go to hell. I was like,
yeah. Well, but
I think we're always giving, we have to be the bigger person. We have to be the better person in any situation. And not just with men, but even in the workplace with other people, we have to be the bigger person. And when we want to be direct, when we want to set those boundaries, then we're aggressive. I'm like, nah, you gonna whatever you want to call it, you gonna call it. But you finna get it today, you gonna get this work.
Well, Fatima's a little more classy, so curious to hear her thoughts. And I want to say this. So Kiera, all of us have had some time in Texarkana, our small town, which is, you know, unique in its own way. But my girl Fatima is honed down in a small town, and she knows a lot about small town mentality. So you already know, as a Black woman in a small ass town with limited ass views, they're already, you know, under fire. And there's been times where she has literally screenshot something that's, you know, just, she has this positive whatever, and then she screenshots it and gets all these weird negative DMs and comments, you know, and like, you think you better now, and you know. So I would love to hear, you know, from your point of view, how you feel about that. Because I even, you know, I asked her before she got on live and everything, I was like, girl, you gonna be all right? Because, you know, folks like to come for people, you know. I'm, like I said, I keep my heat on me, so let's go. Like, you know.
You know, I'm just a small town girl living in a lonely world. That's a journey. But it's hard here. For one, I wasn't born here. I was born in Portland, Oregon. I came here when I was like 14, 15 years old. So the way I talk, the way I dress, my mentality is very different from people who grew up here. And it's very limited. Like, the thing that I don't get the most about Ava is that, how has Ava never been Ava? Like, if you went to school with us, then you saw Ava. Like, she never hid who she was.
I agree. Because when she transitioned, I was like, that's what it is.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Like, when you were talking, I was thinking, I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, I remember. There was a time. Because I've always seen you for you. But that's just me. But a lot of people here don't think that way. Like, they kind of harp, you know, on the thing. They demonize things that they don't understand. And I think it's just a safety net, but it's so limiting, and it creates boundaries where they're not reaching people that can really help them grow.
Yeah, barriers, really. And I want to, you made me think of, you know, Texarkana had a lot of trans or have trans people. Mm-hmm. And one of the trans people we know from high school they used to call themselves Duck. And she, or they, I think that they preferred to be a, you know, they, them, but they were murdered. The person knew that they were trans and all of that. But as soon as she said, well, you know, if you feel like this, they got into whatever altercation. If you feel like this, then I'll go public. And so, you know, we're not just talking about, like, nationally, we know trans women have been murdered and been attacked, and the numbers are increasing. But we also, from even our hometown, we know that is a real thing, because the funny thing is, we all went to high school together. Well, except for Kiera, but when we were in high school, Ava participated in something called the Miss Ugly pageant, where guys dress up as women, and she did really amazing, like everybody thought. But, like, you know, people started talking, and they discontinued Miss Ugly pageant after she participated. So, you know, Fatima's not lying when we're talking about how much how closed off people are to even the idea, even the, you know, the appearance. They don't even want it to, you know, even, and that, I mean, that's scary just on any level. But not to cut you off, Fatima, because I feel like you were definitely going somewhere. But yeah.
But you're right. Like, even if you look at different people we went to school with, like, the moment that they left Texarkana and landed in Austin, Houston, Dallas, Little Rock, wherever they went, they walked in their truth. And it's because you don't have that opportunity in places like Texarkana. You know, Texarkana is a great retirement place. It's a great place to raise children. If you are looking to have, like, a traditional lifestyle, it's great for that. But if you are someone who is kind of, I can't even find the word. If you are
just different.
I don't want to say different, but if you're someone who is okay with thinking outside of the box and you want to live in your truth, you can't do that here. Because even me, there's certain things that I cannot do. Like, the fact that I had a hysterectomy and I'm so open about it makes people so uncomfortable here. I am told weekly to stop talking about it, that I'm depressed, that I'm harping on things, that I need to move on with my life. Keep in mind, I literally went from 252 pounds to 170 pounds the day of my surgery within 8 months. I had lost nearly 100 pounds and I was bleeding out to death. There is no way I can keep this story to myself, knowing that Black women out there have these issues and they have no idea what is going on. I first started this journey when I was 17 years old. They thought I was pregnant. And so they started telling everyone in school that I was pregnant because they didn't understand what reproductive health was. I went back when I was 25 and I had a Black doctor tell me, laughed, chuckled in my face and said, there's no way you have endometriosis. That's a Caucasian woman's disease. You have fibroids. And so it festered, it got worse, got to a point where it was going into my liver and other organs. And I had to have a full hysterectomy, never had a pregnancy scare, never had a child. And those type of conversations get people so uncomfortable here. So imagine being someone like Ava who wants to change her whole identity. Well, who did and successfully and greatly and beautifully did it. Shout out to you.
Thank you.
But try to do that in Texarkana, it's impossible. What doctor is going to help you get on that path, for one?
Ooh. And I mean, and that kind of like intersects with all of the things that I was talking about. Like, it's scary to think about healthcare when you're a Black woman. It's scary to think about love and relationships when you're a Black woman. It's scary to think about your career, because as you get more successful in your career, it's like you really do accumulate like this amount of almost people hate watch you, you know, or hate follow you. And like, you know, and I am guilty of joining into these empowerment circles and then realizing how transactional it feels and how it just isn't genuine to me. And, you know, I think that is also a difficult thing, because you know how you were talking about boundaries. I think that when Black women set boundaries with people, it really does piss people off. It really, and that, you know, that just goes to show you needed the boundary. But y'all, you know, I kid you not, I was going to therapy regularly with a Black therapist, and this guy in town, I'm sure Kiara would know him, but he's over like a mental health foundation, and I thought that was really cool and everything. And so we kind of started talking, you know, and I'm okay with expressing attraction and I'm all open to that. But like, it was like when we met up, it was so much. And I told him, I was like, you know, this is a boundary. I'm not going to, you know, do anything further and all that kind of stuff. But he like literally was like, you're a tease. And I mean, he was gaslighting me and pushing me. And so it ended up, you know, where I had to ask him to leave. And so I never contacted him again. Because for me, I was like, yeah, he crossed a lot of boundaries. I will not let him back into my space. And it was funny because I was telling my therapist about it, because she knew him, because he's very charming and charismatic and like loves to get in touch with people. And I think his cause is great. But it was crazy to me because when because he was like, I thought you didn't like me because you haven't, you know, spoken to me in months. And I was just like, you know, you made me really uncomfortable. Like he was so mad that I told him that he crossed a boundary of mine that he blocked me on everything.
Wow.
And then he blocked me in text messages. And so, and it took me a while because I don't like, I have no reason to like check on him or follow him. But like when I realized he had blocked me from everything, I was just like, wow, and you're a mental health advocate. And so, you know, like it gets into these spaces where I think that, you know, Black men and a lot of men in general think that, especially when Black women are talking about how we don't feel protected, they immediately think that we're attacking them. And I'm like, no, it's not an attack. It's just that it's so ingrained that you're not even realizing how much you're perpetuating it. You're not even realizing how dangerous this is, you know, and how I have to think about that every time I interact, like, especially on a work level, every time I interact with men, I'm always having to like, think like, is this man like trying to really come on to me? Like, you know, is this what this is right now? Or is this just his, you know, demeanor, you know? And there was a guy that I was really trying to actively get in touch with on a professional level. And like eventually he was like, you know, I'm dating someone. And I was like, nigga, who was talking about dating you? Like, why did you think that was something that I'd be interested in? So, you know, it's interesting to me, just the perspectives people have that are not Black women, and even the Black women who are, have their internalized misogyny and kind of do these pick me things. I feel like, and that might be where we're transitioning. I feel like we need to be more cognizant of it, and we need to start talking about what are some steps people can take. And y'all just tell me off top what you think of. What are some steps people can take to kind of support and sustain the Black women in their lives? Because I do have a point about Black women being sustainable, but we ain't got enough time for that. And I will be writing an article about it anyway. So y'all need to be looking out for that anyway. But I do want to close out with us just kind of giving out our own tips off the top of our head of like the ways in which, because I really feel like it's going to have to boil down to accountability, and it's going to have to boil down to, especially in our community, and we're talking about our community, y'all, it's going to have to boil down to Black men really speaking up, and not just the phrase. I'm talking about speaking up in their circles of people, speaking up in their circles of influence, actually acting out what they truly believe. Because I know a lot of men that do protect Black women, and they might not be vocal, like they might not say a lot about it, but if they see something, they will say something. And I think that that's wonderful, but I'm like, you have to start thinking about the people around you, because there's so many times that I hear that, like, I'm a good dude, like, and I'm like, yeah, but do you know how much that affects the people around you? Like, are they good dudes? Because I don't see you as having integrity if you're around people who do this, like who perpetuate a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. So, in y'all's opinion, what should people in general be doing to support Black women besides listening? Because a lot of y'all don't listen to us.
Shit, that's number one. Shut the fuck up and listen. And to add on to shut the fuck up and listen, when somebody tells you that you are making them uncomfortable, when a Black woman tells you that you are making her uncomfortable, or if a Black woman tells you she feels some type of way about your actions, that is not your time to say, oh, well, you're this and you're this, and this doesn't matter because of this, this, and this. I have seen so many Black men get on social media and say, protect Black women for what? When they this. And it's like, what the fuck? But you want us to protect you. So, and we do. And we bend over fucking backwards to protect Black men. When y'all talk about us like shit. But I think the most important thing is to just shut the fuck up and listen. Take that in. Actually embrace the things that are being said. If somebody's telling you that the way that you're talking to them is demeaning, don't try to explain away how this works with this person or this works with this person. Just listen and learn. That's the one good way to be an ally. Listen to the people who are affected, learn from the things that they say, and move forward with their suggestion.
Amen. All right, y'all are up.
I'll go. Mine's is short. I always tell all of my suitors, as they taught us in high school, when we have a little conflict, if I was your daughter, what would you tell me to do in this situation? And I always encourage males to, before you put someone in a position and you ask them to go against something that is clearly morally wrong, that they don't want, that they're not comfortable doing, ask yourself, how would you feel and what advice would you give your daughter if she was in that situation? Would you be comfortable with her doing it? Would you be comfortable seeing your daughter be treated the way that you treat women in public and behind closed doors? That's what I say. Girl, she got something.
I'm like the best they can do for me is get help on their damn self. Like, I'm not raising men no more. Like, I just need y'all to get therapy. If you are not even open to therapy, like, I'm not, like, I'm really wanting, I'm not wearing that jacket. You're not gonna project over here. We're not gonna do this shit. If you can't start with saying I need to get help myself, then we can't get nowhere. Because
your ministry.
I really have to reclaim my time on that one. And I think that we are raising men. And I think Black women we are really pushing the envelope and pushing the needle in, the workplace, in social justice, in therapy and counseling. Black women are getting more therapy and counseling. And if we are doing the work, y'all do the work. And now, like, I pay my $75 an hour, same way you gotta pay whatever you gotta pay. Like, no, you don't get this education for free. I'm not giving you any free like labor. I'm not doing that no more, because I really think that that's where it starts. If men don't understand that they need therapy to do the work, and the community needs therapy. Yeah. But I see more women more openly talking about getting the help that they need to, fill in the gaps in the places where they feel they lack. But I don't see this happening with men as much. And I think that the way to protect us and to support us is to help yourself, is to get the help that you need, that we need to support the community and further the community and further the Black community as a whole.
I love that. And I just to piggyback off of everything, I agree with everything y'all are saying. And I don't want to make this about just Black men and and I love that, y'all have like really talked about, like, we've been able to cover a whole lot. And I think that it's really important, just to reiterate, it's really important to listen to Black women, and especially like do the work, like not just supporting us online, like right. I really want to see people in general do the work. If you know that you work with a Black woman and you know that, she might need someone who is also in her corner and advocating for her, like, for real, pay Black women, listen to Black women, go to therapy, like really take the things that Black women are really being the pioneers for, and do those things yourself. Like, I promise you, it'll only benefit you. And like, I want to say that too, like, don't take so much, and this is my advice, like, stop taking offense to Black women talking about the issues that we face. We have got to stop trying to take so much offense, because y'all be like, y'all so sensitive, like Black women so sensitive, and they don't, they try to be serious about anything, but it's like, but y'all have made everything so much of a joke that you don't realize how much we internalize this stuff. Again, let me stress we got people on this call that have gone to, the ER behind and all of this kind of stuff. So we are constantly having environmental factors affect us. We don't need the social factors, and especially from our men and our community, we don't need that on top of it. I really do think that it's time that our community really does start to take a hard look at itself and see how we treat Black women, and even to the context of, I know a lot of Black moms who have Black sons, and they really do revere them. Oops, sorry, y'all. Revere them as king. I knew it was gonna happen at least once. I was like, I got this set up real janky. No, but I was thinking about this as we were talking. I have a cousin who has a son, and she has a daughter. And the way she praises her son, the way she goes about praising her son. Now, her daughter has like a degree and all this other great stuff. Like, she never really gives acknowledgement to her daughter, but she's always like, my king and my da 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 da. And I'm like, we have got to take accountability in those spaces too, where we're raising these men, and then we're also enforcing a lot of the lack of accountability, a lot of the emotional unavailability, a lot of these things that men don't learn. Like, I think that is a big factor too. So, if you are a Black mom, and this is not to bash anyone, but if you are raising a son, definitely start analyzing the way you interact with your son. Like, what are you teaching him to accept? Because she's also one of those people who, like, when her son starts speaking negatively on trans women, she was like, well, he's got an opinion and he's allowed to have that. And I'm like, that's not an opinion though. That's violent. Like, when you are okay with someone else's death, or you're okay with the violence, and people think that it's not that deep. And I'm like, but it is though. Because as long as we perpetuate that it's wrong, then people feel like they're entitled to come through and kill folks behind something like this. So
go through and fix what's wrong.
Right. Like people need to make that connection. If you think it's wrong but you're like, oh, this is an opinion, but that opinion leads to someone's death. That's an issue. Like you need to unpack that, sweetie. Like you need to go to therapy too. So thank you, ladies, for being on this call. It was really
I just wanted to make one point. And I know we had joked about it just offline before, but I just hope that we can have more grace with one another and as Black women, because I think for us, I joked with Carmela about it. I'm like, why do we be so harsh to each other sometimes? But you know what it is? Because we know we can run these circles around these men. But if there's anybody who's going to go toe-to-toe with us, it's another Black woman, And so I think we should see that solidarity as opposed to being, just give us more grace. We are complex beings. And so everything doesn't look the same to us. But if we don't have more grace with ourselves, like in loving each other, like they ain't got no hope. We can't have hope.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I 100% agree that we need to practice loving and supporting each other more. I think there is this, and it's something that people have always talked about with Black folks, the crabs in the bucket thing. And so you see someone fucking up, and it's like, if I was there, I would have did this. I would have did better, blah, 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 woo, woo. When in all actuality, we need to give each other grace and we need to give each other understanding. And when we can, offer that help to get each other to grow instead of just being like, she fucking up. If it was me, I wouldn't,
The cat needs to stop. Like, it's no need for us. Me talking about you to Kiera isn't going to help Carmela. It's not going to help the situation at all. So a part of grace to me is giving people the peace and opportunity to live life on their terms without your judgment. That is grace to me. So you should be able to extend grace to any woman and say, I understand, I have not walked in your shoes. You have your life experience, but this is what I see. And this is my tip, or this is, I will support you in this. We harp on things and we keep things for the grudges that we keep with other women, but we so quickly forgive man. It's just baffling to me.
Sitting up on YouTube with a bonnet.
That internalized misogyny is like, I think we don't even see it sometimes, that we don't allow Black women to just be. Like we don't allow ourselves, like you said, I would have did this. Like we don't allow ourselves to make mistakes. But then when it's men, well, he came from here, he's family girl, and she can do. I'm surprised he got that much.
Yeah. Black women should know better. And then the men, but they didn't really, And I just want to make this point, and we're wrapping up, y'all. But I also want to say that I have literally had an argument with everybody on this call. So, grace for me is understanding that you will disagree with people and you can still love them completely, wholly, fully. Yes, you can forgive. Like you know what I mean? Like there should be grace in between. Okay, I fucked up here, but moving forward, I'm gonna be better. I just
or at least I'm gonna try not to fuck up the same way.
Right, and I'm an apologizer. I will apologize when I'm on some fuck shit. I'm gonna apologize.
I've apologized a couple times to Carmela, because it'll be some calls where we just disagree, and I'm like, all right, girl, I'm gonna let you go on this one. You have a good day.
You have to. You're just like, okay, I'm gonna let her fly go. She gonna fly.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you go.
She'll be back in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like, come on, baby.
If y'all can't tell, my friends are way more graceful. But they have taught me grace. And so I'm thankful for that. So that's why I'm like, let's just talk about like that being a teachable moment too. Like a lot of times when you think you're beefing with somebody, it literally is just a different perspective. Yeah. It's no real beef. So I love y'all.
I love this. This was great.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoy your Sunday. I hope that I just want to let everybody know these are the women that wrote for me when I launched Community Archive, my website. So thank y'all so much for your contributions. I really, really hope that we can do this again. I hope that everyone that's watching the playback and watching live, thank you so much for watching and listening. And I hope you learned something. I hope that you picked up some nuggets. Shout out to Tommy. I saw that your comment. She said to speak on it. So we did. We came, we spoke on it, now we're gonna smoke on it. Just kidding.
Only where it's legal. Only where it's legal.
Close it out.
And we're done. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope we get to do this again, ladies. And I will see all of you hopefully soon.
Bye. It was so nice to meet y'all. It was nice meeting y'all.
It was so nice meeting you, Kiera. I knew everyone else. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got to meet. All right, y'all.
I like the vibe. I like the vibe.
Definitely.
Likewise. Thank y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.